Today, I'm in the studio with Anna Kilponen, founder and chief operating officer of Foxie. Anna, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It's great to have you here. And first, would you like to tell us a little bit about the background and origin story of Foxie?
Yep, sure. So in Foxie, we are now helping agency executives to predict client churn and to grow their client relationships. And we started a couple of years ago. And in the beginning, we were a group of consultants and we were trying to create better work life. We wanted to create tools that would help employees to work better in their workplaces, especially in remote work. And that was the starting point. We created the idea of the product that was sort of like a automated feedback loop tool. We called it team coaching tool. And at first we got several pilot clients, like 10 companies started to use our product. And that was the start.
I think that's a great start. What about you as a founder? Why Foxie? Why did you get into this business?
Yeah, at first we were like doing projects, like really basic consultant business, and then we realized that we can't change the world by like doing project after project, and we started to like plan some kind of scalable solution that we can, like how we can change workplaces, like several workplaces at the same time. So we started to create this kind of team coach, automated team coach that could be at the same time in every workplace.
All right, that's really interesting, and you said you're a couple of years into the journey, and our discussion today, one of the things that I would really like us to focus on is kind of your journey and search for product market fit. We have touched upon it on previous episodes of GorillaCast, and we've said that usually it or always it takes longer than you expect, and there are a lot of wrinkles along the journey. So thank you very much for sharing your story on that. So if on a high level, initially you would talk a little bit about your search of product market fit and what has that journey withheld for you up until today?
Like in the beginning, when we got these 10 pilot customers, we had like some of those customers were really big ones, and we thought that this kind of early traction would mean product market fit, because we got like 10 big corporate using our product. And after that, we started to plan scaling, and we started to focus on selling more. And we hired a salesperson, and we hired a customer success manager. And after that, we got like in huge problems, because like even though we thought there was a product market fit, there wasn't. And when we started to scale too early, we were in like huge operational problems. For example, like almost like with every client, we had a bit tailored solution. And like we didn't have like a really clear customer profile, so all the clients were a bit different, and we had also a different buyer and the user, and we had like 10 clients, but a lot of unhappy buyers and also sometimes users, and it took us like a lot of effort to operate these clients, because like it was like totally mess. Like every client needed a lot of manual work, and And I need to say that at that point, our MVP was like sort of Wizard of Oz MVP, and we didn't communicate that like clear enough to clients that it's MVP, it's not a real product yet. So yeah, that was it was really painful time.
It takes a lot of insight and courage to be able to kind of admit and see all of that. So when you realized that, how did you go about the situation?
At that point, we had raised a bit money, and we got some Business Finland money too, and it was so hard and painful to operate with the clients, and we did some kind of check between in the team that it's hard after week after week, and it seems that it's not getting any better, and we realized that our solution is pretty nice to have. It's not solving any real problem. Of course, it's a problem that that there are some issues and problems in workplaces for sure, but it's not whose problem it is. We couldn't find the buyer who had this problem and is willing to pay for it. So then it was springtime, and before summer we ran down our pilot projects and clients, and we started to do solution interviews, because we realized that there was something we were successful in the first concept. When we have this team coaching tool, we managed to create automated feedback loop between the team members, and users were pretty engaged. The problem was that kind of automated feedback loop doesn't create any real value for anyone. It was really nice to have, but it worked. So that was the one thing that we took from the initial concept, and we started to figure out where this kind of automated feedback loop can create value, and we started to interview company executives.
Mm-hmm. And how did you go about those interviews? We've discussed in the podcast previously that kind of getting those discussions with your customers is extremely important, but it's also sometimes uncomfortable, and it's not always easy. So how did you go about that?
I think it wasn't difficult. We were learning, and we just contacted different company executives and started to we asked 20 minutes for interview, and we had really open questions. We were trying to understand where are the pain points related to feedback, and we started to learn a lot and pretty fast. We learned that internal feedback is not that kind of issue in most companies, but the customer feedback, it's more important, and they are using a lot of time to trying to fix that. They are using different kind of researches and surveys and trying to understand their customers. So we understood at that point that this is something that they are using a lot of time, money and time, and maybe our solution could help in this case.
And once you had done a number of those interviews, what was kind of the key takeaway and insight? If you describe it today, what is the problem that you are solving for your customers today?
Yeah. Well, and I want to underline that we did something like 300 interviews. So like it wasn't like 10 interviews and we know the problem. It was like we did like 20 interviews and then we were trying to understand and then we did 20 again and 20 again. So it was like a huge journey. But we found the problem that like what is the real problem, why they can't sleep, what they are thinking. It was like there is the fear if they are losing their clients. And they want to have this kind of peace of mind, like there's everything fine with the client relationships and there's not going to be client churn. And this is the issue when we go to the sort of agency world where companies are selling expertise. For example, in marketing agencies and IT agencies, their executives really don't know what is happening with the clients. And they just need to ask internally like, hey, are those clients okay? And it's really difficult to get client feedback. And here we found out that our solution might create this automated feedback loop between the client-side people and the internal experts doing the client work. We thought that this could be the case where our solution might work, and we managed to get pilot clients, and then we did some like prototyping and we started to iterate, and basically that's the stage where we are now.
Yeah, and during that journey and that learning, which I think you described in a very good way, what are some of the most important iterations or pivots that you feel you have been able to do to increase your fit with what the customers really painfully want to solve?
Like I would say that during this iteration, the most important thing has been that like it's different case what client says. Sometimes they are like telling a lot of things, and they are telling us like what they would do. So they are sort of like predicting future, like I would do something if. And you can't really trust that kind of information. Yeah. So only thing is that you need to like see how the client acts. And sometimes it's totally different than like how client acts or users act than what they're saying. And that has led us to like do the iteration further. For example, we have now it's more like a message automation that is creating the value to the executives, but it's also creating the value to the customer managers. So we can find different kind of levels for the value we can create. And at least in B2B, I think that's pretty important to understand, like, because there might be a lot of different stakeholders. So it's important to understand how you are creating the value for different stakeholders.
That's a really crucial point, and I think it oftentimes gets overlooked when you're building a business and you get some initial good feedback, for example, from users, then you think that you're onto something. but getting that broader context and understanding that there are different stakeholders, and even if the user is happy, if the buyer doesn't see the value, as you mentioned early on, then you still don't have a business. So those are all extremely valuable insights. What do you feel? I was really happy to hear from you that you said that you've been talking to hundreds of executives, and talking to executives is easy. That's great to hear. But in that whole process, what do you think has been the most challenging thing for you and Foxie?
The most challenging phase was when we didn't have product market fit, and in fact we didn't have problem solution fit, and we got a lot of pressure from outside, and we have this kind of we have this we know how it should go. Like, you start a startup and you should scale fast, and we couldn't do that. It was really hard. We were trying to sell, and customers were unhappy, and we had a lot of churn, and it was really difficult to let the first concept go and be really humble and say that we didn't listen to customers enough. We listened to customers in the beginning, but when you are creating something new, I think you need to listen to customers all the time. So that's the iteration.
Yeah.
And so it was the most difficult point. But after that, like now we are, like, we know more now. We know like what it can be when you don't listen to your customers. But also like having a clear focus. When sometimes when we are in this startup scene, often people say that like you need to have this huge market potential. And now when we are in this phase, like in really early stage, you can't have, that what I'm thinking now, you can't have really like, you can't think about huge market. You need to think about really narrow market, and really you have to have really clear ideal customer profile. And at that point, it might sound like you have a pretty small market, but it doesn't need to, like, it doesn't mean that you're starting from some point up and then you are going further, and you can make your market larger later on. But if you want to have like a really clear problem solution fit and really clear product market fit, you need to start like from the really narrow market.
That's really powerful stuff, and you are absolutely correct, because then once you have found that product market fit for a certain segment, then you can start building further. But if you don't find that initial ideal customer profile, if you don't find someone that you are a good fit to, then you're just spreading your resources thin. That's very true. I remember years ago when Timo Ahopelta released his first book, Sandhill Road, he said that there are two times when people talk about startups. It's very early on when they raise their first round and they are going to be the next big thing. And the second time you hear about them is years later when they make a big exit, but nobody talks about kind of the grind in between. I think you were describing it in an extremely good way, that kind of you feel yourself that you need to get there fast, but when you're building a startup, there's no shortcuts. You have to go through the grind, and I think it's really powerful lessons that you have shared with us here. I still want to talk a little bit about that feeling of pressure and having this need to move forward faster. Where is that pressure coming from in your case?
it's hard to say. Maybe it's coming from outside your startup.
Yeah.
It's never problem for a startup to get advice. But some advice are they are more like a corporate style advice, and maybe everyone wants to be the next unicorn, and investors are looking for next unicorns, and that's that's creating the pressure to scale fast. And there are a lot of people who really, this is my opinion, that they are really not recognizing the stage of being in pre-product market fit and post-product market fit.
Yeah.
And those those advice are really good, maybe if the stage is different.
Yeah.
But
no, I think that's a great description of the situation. And as investors, we do oftentimes make the mistake of wanting to see too many things happen at once. And at Gorilla, we're being very conscious as we talk about the learning journey and talk about kind of the different phases of the J curve and everything else, is that you can do a lot of right things, but if you do them at the wrong time, then the outcome is not going to be good. So I think what you were essentially stating there, that if you get a lot of outside noise, you don't know what to focus on, and when you are in pre-product market fit stage, essentially your whole focus should be on finding that problem solution fit, turning that into a product market fit, and so forth. So that's really good. So now that you are a little bit further along in the journey and you have been able to identify the problem that you're solving, you are gradually moving closer towards product market fit. What are some of the metrics and indicators that you use to kind of assess where you are in that journey?
Yeah, well, we have some metrics that we are using. But also, I would say there are a lot of signals that you can see. It's much more easier to get, for example, a demo meeting, and you can use always the same sales pitch for every client or every prospect. So you have a sign that this might be that one day this could be scalable, because you are talking to every client in the same way, and no more these kind of tailored solutions. So it's getting a bit more easier to sell. And then even though if your MVP or product is not yet really good, for example, our MVP is not working really, really well now, but your customers are still using the product. So it's creating some kind of value for them. And we saw that customers became pretty proactive. They wanted to give feedback for us, and they were using the product. So I think these are kind of signals you can see. And I think I have read some books, and in those books they said that you need to have significant customer traction, so you know you are in product market fit. And I think these are the early signs. We didn't have anything like this in the initial concept. And we have also some metrics, like a certain percent of demo meetings should lead to the test trial, and then certain percent of test trials should lead to paying customer, and certain percent of paying customers should say that they would be really disappointed if they wouldn't have Foxie.
Mm-hmm. Very good. And I think, as you were saying, it's one of the keys there that even if your product is not exactly what you want it to have today, that it has enough stick with the customers, that it does have something that the customers value. That's how you know you're on the right path. That's good stuff. I think, as I said already earlier, and in our discussions, it's great to hear from a founder who's in the middle of the journey, because if you talk to someone even a little bit after they've kind of completed the product market fit and they're moving fast way forward, the kind of story and journey starts to change in your mind. It becomes more golden in your memories. So I really appreciate that you are in the middle of the road and sharing your experiences there. So with everything that you've learned and found along the way, what are some of the top insights? What would you like to share with other founders who are in the early or mid stages of the journey trying to find their product market fit?
One of the most important things, in my opinion, is that you should be really honest to yourself. Like, what is the stage of your startup? I think everyone wants to be in product market fit stage, but like if you have pilot customers or early traction, that doesn't mean that you have product market fit. And you should also be really honest to your customers. If you have still MVP or you are still iterating or testing, you should be really honest to your clients, like, hey, this is MVP and we are like developing it now with you. So that's the other thing. And also like listening your customers, but also seeing like how they are acting and what they are saying. It's really important to hear like what they are saying, of course, but sometimes they say a bit like we all say nice things, and sometimes that can mislead us if we just like because sometimes customers are really nice, for example, and they want to say nice things, but or they want to like they say things that they would like to do but they are not doing, but focusing on what they are doing, what is their behavior, how they are acting, that will lead to the product market fit. That's what I'm believing now. And I think the customers is the key. So you should listen to your customers basically every day. Like in the first concept, our problem was that we listened to customers in the really beginning, but not after that. So it's something that I believe that you should do all the time, every day.
That's a good list of things, and having listened to you during this talk, I think just to add on top of that, I think one of the things that you've said is that there are a lot of people who are willing to give you advice, and especially as first-time founders, it's you need the advice. It's great to talk to people, but at the same time, it's really important that you kind of find your own way and you find your own focus and path, because no two startup journeys are the same. And as said, always it takes more time than you think. So having this healthy pushback to saying that, okay, we're not there yet. We can't focus on that yet. We need to nail this first. I think it's really important to develop that kind of feeling for yourself. So how do you see the near future for Foxie? Where are you headed at this point?
At this point, we have really clear ideal customer profile. We have a roadmap. We have good relationships with our pilot clients, and they are giving a lot of feedback for us. So I think that we are going to the right direction, and when we have like a scalable solution and like when we I think when we are reaching the product market fit, we can see that, and after that we can think about things like business model, for example, or like increasing sales volumes and things like that. But at this point, when we are not yet there, it's mostly about the learning and yeah.
Sounds great. Best of luck in your journey. Now, starting to wind down today's discussion, there are a couple of things that we usually ask at the end of the show. And the first one is, what do you know today that you wish you had known already years ago?
That startup is not a mini corporation, and the principles of corporations are not working in startups. And when you are in pre-product market fit phase, it's all about learning. And faster you learn, the faster you will reach product market fit.
Thank you. And then what could have helped you move faster on your learning curve?
To get the right advice in the beginning. But also I think that this journey has been like, I've learned so much that maybe in our case, this was the way we needed to go this. So, but the right advice in the early beginning would have helped us a lot.
Sounds good. And then our previous guest was one of Gorilla's founders, Petri Lehmuskoski, and Petri had a question to you, which is, what would you say is the most important thing that you have gained or learned whilst working with Gorilla as an investor?
Yeah, I would say that it's all about learning, and there are no shortcuts. You just need to go like stage after stage.
That sounds like advice we would give. Normally at this point, I would ask you to ask a question to our next guest, but because after this episode we're going for our Christmas break, we're going to skip that part for now. But Anna, thank you very much for joining us today. I really appreciate you taking the time and talking about the journey that you and Foxie have been on, and very best of luck in the future.
Thank you.